The Scubapro Nova 700 and 700R are lights with outputs both of 700 lumens, real lumens, and just to let you know, there is a newer version of both of them which are called the 720s. The only difference is they make a little bit more light, 720 lumens in this case, and that's basically the main difference. What I really like on these lights, I want to tell you right away, is that the heads are exactly the same. They have the same LED, the Cree Xm-l in the front, very nice reflector, looks very clean, and the heads themselves are interchangeable in between the two. So you could even buy only one head, buy the two back pieces, and then use the battery type which you prefer. So that's very nice. Another thing I really like on these lights, which I miss on some others, is this part here in front, this protection, let's say, is very convenient, because usually the lights are hanging like this and they're banging around, they're being dragged around some places, and this really protects the lights from getting scratched, from getting dents into the aluminum parts. So this is a very nice feature, and it's really on the key part where it's really needed, it is protected. Small thing which I recommend you, these are kind of removable, so sometimes pull them off, wash them off with real clean water, make sure there is nothing underneath, because there might be some salt accumulating in there and this might be a problem. So every once in a while take it off, wash it off and put it back on. In the front, as I've told you, there is a Cree Xm-l2, very good LED, we know it's a proven LED, most lights use it. The reflector looks very clean, it's all very well made. Closed with this pin in the front. Moving to the back, we have some cooling fins, small ones, nice threaded finished. Here in the back we have two O-rings, I'm going to show you in a second. And in the back, in this case, we have the place for one 18650, and in this case we have a little bit of a thicker, let's say, tube, and here fit 3 C cells inside. This the 700 also has a protection here in the back, as it's a long light and it also might be dragged in the back, it's also protected. Also a nice feature on these lights, which I don't really think it's necessary on a light, although it's nice to have, is an overpressure valve. This means when you're coming back up from a dive, or if you during a dive, and for example a battery loses some gases, degases, this will let the overpressure out of the system. As you probably can guess, the 700R means for rechargeable, as this is a 18650 light, and the 18650s, as you know them, are rechargeable. You can use two types basically. You could use the unprotected cells or the protected cells. There isn't a big difference, although I recommend you to use the protected cells, as this light does not have any protection feature. I've also tested the runtime, which will come later in this video, but let's stick around with the light for now. You open the light, screwing the light apart. Very easy, we have a 2 O-ring system here, nice and cleanly made. We have a nice clean thread. It all looks very, let's say, pleasant to see, looks good. The inside, serial number and so on. Just place the battery negative wise in first, as usual the positive to the driver, and you close the light back down. When we screwed the light all the way in again, if you tighten it all the way, the light will come on. And this is the way you switch this light. You switch it off by just opening it a little bit, and if you want to turn it on, you close it again. So here we have around 700, maybe even 800 lumens. I've read the specifications, they say in between 700 and 800. So when the battery is full, I think it's 800 lumens. And here we see we have a nice spot design. Looks very nice, and for the night times we also have a lot of spill actually. What I want to show you is the head is really exactly the same also on the 700, and you can see it here. It looks a little bit of a warmer color, although this light seems to be a little older or a different batch production, so the color tint might be a little different. But as you can see, they're exactly the same, look exactly the same, and you could also interchange the heads in between each other. What we can see right now is this is the way we can switch it. Very easy and convenient to do. 2 O-ring design is good, and this is all I want to say about the light. Basically, we have a small mounting hole here to mount a wrist strap or some other mounting accessories you use to mount your lights to it. Although, let's jump in the water and test out the Scubapro Nova 700R, as they are both exactly the same. So I'm going to take the rechargeable and be a little more sustainable. So let's jump in the water and check the light out. So guys, I hope you could see more or less how the Nova 700R and the Nova 700, which is exactly the same, perform underwater in a real diving environment, so you could have a better idea as on any of my reviews. Now guys, you're probably asking yourself, what is the runtime on one of these lights? I'm not gonna test the 700 because it's C-cells, they're not rechargeable, I don't want to be buying new batteries, so I'm only gonna test the 700R, which is rechargeable with my 18650 and it's just more sustainable. So I'm gonna use my 18650, the NCR 18650B from Panasonic, with a capacity of 3400 milliamp hours, which is relatively the highest possible in the market. So let's jump in and take a look on how long the runtime is on this light. So as you could see, after around 12 to 13 hours the light was very dim, and I decided to turn it off as I had the feeling that something was wrong with the protection in my battery. It was not, the battery was at 2.5 volts already, although it is already quite low for an 18650, so I think it was a good decision. After 13 hours I think you will be already out of the water and charging the battery again. What I also want to tell you is this light has only one mode. I didn't tell you before. It only has one mode in this head. No matter which one you have, they only have one light mode, which is full, which is high, and no matter how often you turn them on and off, they will always be at the same lumen output and also the same runtime. Alright guys, very quickly, small pros and cons about the 700 and 700R Novas from Scubapro. I think that these are very convenient to use, very easy to use. The build quality is very good. I think the protection here and there in the front and back are very good to protect the light from scratching it, from damaging it when bouncing around, when scratching against walls, being dragged around the floor with your equipment if they're fixed there. So this is a very good positive point. The overpressure valve, if it's well made, if it does not leak, if it does not allow any water to get in after a while, I think it's a good feature. Although, as I said before, I personally don't think it is a must. I've had many lights with rechargeable lithium-ion cells, and I have never had an issue with overpressure. I mean, when opening a light, if you would have overpressure in there, you would feel it. It would open more easily. You will probably hear some kind of air coming out, and I have never had this issue before, so I don't think it's a real must, although it's included. What I also think is the finish is just very nice. It looks good, it's nice and shiny. It makes a very good appearance, easy to fix. Again, the 18650, small, handy to use, although not as small as some others. Negative points are basically only one, which is the price on this. If you want a very good quality light with a brand name such as Scubapro, obviously you have to pay a little bit for it. The 700R is available for around 90 to 100 euros, excluding the 18650, and the 700 is also somewhere in this price range, also without the batteries. Lastly, I hope you enjoyed the video as usual. If you did so, I would be happy for a nice like down below. Comment down below if you have any questions or ideas for these videos or about this video. Lastly, go by my channel and check out the other reviews and other videos I have, and if you enjoyed them, make sure to hit the subscribe button right here to not miss out on any of my future uploads. So guys, thanks a lot for watching, stay tuned!